So we actually had this presentation um, last night, but I forgot to click the record button at the very beginning. So I'm going to redo the beginning so that everybody will know how we started. So this is the last presentation that we were supposed to have from last week's Maafa 2025 conference. If you made the conference, then you've already seen the three previous scenes from Dr. Tutmose, the Glorious African, to Prairie View A&M Theater Department and Reverend Aswad Walker, the Maafa, parts one and parts two, Brother Craig Lee, the six pillars of empowerment, and then my presentation, which is scheduled to be implementing the six pillars. We didn't have time. Brother Kerry Jr., who runs our national agricultural and food securities department, as well as our agricultural think tank. He did his presentation, which was, of course, absolutely fantastic. And this is the presentation that we were supposed to have after Brother Craig lays out the six pillars. Then I was supposed to come up and show how we're going to implement those six pillars, which we didn't have time to do, which is why I'm doing it now. So we had the meeting, the presentation last night, but I forgot to click record for the very beginning. So I'm going to do it here, which will be very brief because I did start pretty much at the beginning. I just didn't get the first two. So the Growth for Care Alliance, Three Levels Edutainment, and Black Gold Nation presents Implementing the Six Pillars of Empowerment, Laying the Foundation for Power. If you understand nothing else, please understand that everything happens for a reason and nothing is by accident.
Every system is perfectly designed to get the results it achieves. That's what we have to appreciate. These systems, if people say, well, how do we fix them? They're not broken. They're designed to produce exactly what you see. Mm-hmm. There's no fixing them. There really isn't, because they're perfectly designed. We need new systems, right? These systems, as they're set up, are designed to do exactly what they're supposed to do. Women have a certain position, people of color have a certain position, white people have a certain position. When you look at law enforcement, I can't tell you how many people have said to me, how do we fix it, Joy? How do we fix it? I said, you can't fix it. You know that policing, for example, in America, it came from slave patrols. The function, right? So the actual where it was derived was terrorism. They were terrorizing enslaved people that had been freed for fear that there was going to be a revolt. It never happened. You realize that they still punish us over this notion of fear of what we're going to do, because and that's their pathology. Mm-hmm. I mean, that really is their pathology. But if it actually came from slave patrols, what makes you think it's there to protect you? It's not designed to protect you. It may occasionally, but that's not what it's designed to do.
The Black Reality in 2025.
In Africa, we got to understand colonialism. We live in Black communities in America are domestic colonies of a colonial capitalist system. And here's where they get you. They get you focusing on racism. And we have to, but racism is the ideology of capitalism. It is not the system. The system is capitalism, and then you have a socialist system, and communism is the utopian system that doesn't exist. You have communist parties and countries, but you don't have a communist government. So when we look at every Black community, what is a domestic colony? A colony is when a foreign nation takes over a sovereign state and brings in its military and extracts from its natural resources from that land and the labor, slave labor. That's what colonialism is. So domestic colonialism means that we, in Black communities across this country, we don't have anything like Tulsa or Rosewood in the 21st century. There's no Black community where we're in control of the land, the resources, the means of production, all of the social, cultural institutions like they had in Rosewood in the 1920s. So now We have none of that. We are over $1 trillion consumer market, and yet we have no community in the country that looks anything like Rosewood or Tulsa of the 1920s. And here we are in 2023. So
let me put a
when you
slick
go ahead.
definition on it, Charles, Brother Barron. You know, somebody asked Malcolm X, said, Brother Minister Malcolm X, what do you mean by black nationalism? And to just capsulize what you said, he said, you must control the land, labor, and resources, the economic, politics, and culture where you live. We control none of that where we live. And that just capsulizes it. And
Right.
and when we think of it, here we're expected to spend $2 trillion this year in consumer dollars.
Mhm.
We
Wow.
control no land,
Wow.
we control no labor, we control no
Nope.
resources. We do not control the economics, the politics, or the culture where we live. All right. And then we by definition, we can't even call where we live communities, because communities
That's right.
presuppose that you control those things.
Absolutely.
That's
So
right.
we are neighborhoods in
Mm.
capitalistic colonial communities.
Go ahead now. That's what I'm talking about.
And so if we clear on these little definitions, it'll
Mhm.
help us to see what the problem is.
That's right.
And we won't get blinded
That's
by
right.
black colonialists or neo-colonialists.
There
Because they
you
blinded
go.
us in New York
There you
State.
go.
They're
That's
blinded.
right.
Because you look
That's
and say,
right.
oh my God, every office that we thought that could be held, that would be the cause for change for better, is now being held by people that look just like us, and things are getting worse
They're
for
getting
us.
worse.
That's right.
So the rest of the presentation picks up with part 2. Thank you very much for watching. Click the link for the next video for part 2, and that'll close out the presentation. Thank you very much. God bless, and you guys have a good day.